all of these platforms have dynamic content. Marketo was actually the winner. So Dan, I would love to hear from you why you believe that Marketo was the winner in this category.
Just take a look, right? Take a look and see. So yeah, so I think Marketo, I would say leads, the marketing automation platforms and dynamic content, just because the way that everything functions is very much integrated. So everything is founded within your ability to segment your database, which goes back to kind of what we were saying before. You can develop and build lists and audiences so easily, and you can cut your database into different segmentations, and that is the foundation of dynamic content, which is a very well connected piece to how you implement that into different assets like your landing pages and your emails, where you can say, look, I want to segment this very specific piece of this email by this segmentation, and you can quickly add it in, and then you can quickly adjust all of those different subsegments to the particular content that you need. And it only goes, it doesn't go that far, right? You have the capability to do dynamic content for your assets, for your landing pages, for your emails, but it also extends all the way into things like your reporting, where you can say, okay, I have all of this different reporting, and ultimately you can incorporate your segmentation to see how things performed against that segmentation, which in many cases is what's driven your dynamic content. So you can see whether or not an email in particular is performing better for one subsegment versus another. So I think that's just a really powerful tool, and a little bit of stand-up time, but certainly intuitive once you get used to it, and super powerful for those that use it and know how to.
How do you feel like HubSpot might be able to do dynamic content a little bit better, or what do you love about the way HubSpot does dynamic content?
So when I think about dynamic content in HubSpot, I think about what we're able to segment off of. And I think that's really where I find HubSpot does it does very well in this category. I think, a winner and a loser is few and far between here when we're this passionate about our platforms, right? So I say that HubSpot does very well in this area. And I say that because there are different ways to set up what we call smart rules in HubSpot, where you are basically telling a module of an asset, if this rule exists in X, Y, and Z format, you're gonna show this piece of material, and you have system generated data that populates within HubSpot, such as country and source and device type, that you can actually segment for dynamic content to populate. So I think that is a great feature. Of course, there's limitations to system level data that is not obtained by the organization itself, third-party cookie management, VPN generated IP addresses, browser security settings. So all of those, all of the benefits of this of the dynamic content through the segmentation can be thwarted by sort of the advancing technologies around us that are helping keep our data safe. So that limits it. You can also segment off of property values, which is great, but then you're creating lists. You're creating a lot of lists in HubSpot, whereas in something like Marketo, where you're working with the segmentation, pieces of a pie, multiple lists within one segmentation to be able to pull from and play with that pie. You're building multiple lists in HubSpot. You're trying, troubleshooting. Therefore, at the end of the day, you're troubleshooting the smart rule on the asset. You're building the list somewhere else. So it becomes a little bit more clunky in terms of ease of use. And HubSpot, with how great it is in terms of its UX, in terms of its user experience for its organizations, I would say that that sort of throws it off a little. So I would say definitely does well emails, blog posts, pages, templates, but at the end of the day, that it's limited with all of the extra that comes with deciding what you're segmenting on.
So the biggest complaint with dynamic content in Eloqua used to be that you couldn't get reporting for the different versions of the email or the landing page. So what users would actually do is not use the dynamic content and create a version A of the email and a version B. And of course, that defeats the purpose. That has since been fixed. So you actually now can get reporting on different versions of the dynamic content, which makes it much more useful in the system today. I would say the one thing that maybe could be improved is sort of the user interface and how intuitive it is to set it up. You do set it up with rules where, rule 1 shows content, one block of content versus rule 2 versus rule 3. What I think might not be obvious to a user who's new to dynamic content and Eloqua is that those rules aren't always mutually exclusive. And so the way it works is the first rule that is hit that somebody qualifies, that's the version that they see. So it becomes really important how you write those rules in the system and how you prioritize them, which I'm not sure is always obvious to the end user.